What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at it again with another video. So we're gonna check out cheap tires versus expensive tires. What are you actually paying for? Now, I recently just had to buy some new tires for my GT53. For those who don't know, I recently just got it tuned, so it's making a lot more power than it normally would stock. The tires that I have been on, I got them brand new from the dealership when I got the car last year. So obviously I've ran up the miles on the car, and the tires, even though they weren't like bald or anything like that, but you can tell I needed more. And especially when I got the tune and I'm at higher speeds, I can feel the vibrations, on my steering wheel, and I can also feel like a little bit of the slippage, especially when I launch it. So I could definitely tell, yeah, my tires are pretty much worn out, and it's time for me to get some new ones. Recently got some new ones, and it's a night and day difference. I can be at high speeds and have no issues. There's no vibration on my steering wheel. There's no slippage when I'm launching it. I think I've reached the fastest I've reached in the car, and it was a smooth ride. You wouldn't be able to tell I was going as fast as I was. So we're gonna check this out. This should be a pretty interesting video. Appreciate all love and support, man, and let's get right into it, man. Oh, it's too loud. I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry about that. It's too loud.
If you've ever shopped for a new set of tires, you've probably seen a massive price difference between something that costs like $400 a set versus something that costs like $1,400 a set. And at first glance, they all might look pretty similar. Round, rubber, tread pattern, tire. But a difference between a cheap tire and an expensive one isn't just the logo that's stamped on the sidewall. It's about materials, technology, and the performance you can actually feel when you actually slap them on your car.
Yeah.
So today, we're going to break it down. Welcome to The Standoff. I'm Gels. Let's get started. Let's start off with the cheap tires. Now, these are the tires that fall within that $60 to $100 per tire price range. Tires like Ironmans, Acceleras, Lexanis. You can get into a full set of these tires.
The price that I ended up spending on mine, because I was trying to find something reasonable. I know the most expensive ones, I think they were like some Michelin cups. I believe they were charging for a full set, I think 26, and then I ended up getting some Continental contact sports, 5Ps or something like that. And I ended up paying $1,700 for a complete set. So I wasn't trying to go like too crazy, but like dropping almost $3,000 for them. But at the same time, I wasn't trying to go like super cheap either. And I think they do pretty well for the performance that I'm able to get out of them so far since I've been testing them out. And I've only had them for like maybe less than a week. So
For what almost a single of the premium tire options cost. And for the most part, things like daily driving or even mild performance driving, they get the job done. Now, on the other corner, you have more expensive tire brands, things like Michelin's, Continentals, Bridgestones. These tires are typically coming in at least $250 per tire. And depending on the size and what type of tire you're getting into, can easily push them over $400 a tire. But what are you really getting with all that extra cash that you're spending, and is it actually worth it? The first major difference that is going to have a strong impact on the overall cost between two sets of tires is going to be the compound. Now, what the heck are these things actually being made from, and what is being put into them? A lot of your expensive performance-oriented tires use proprietary blends of rubber and other synthetic compounds that offer things like better grip, better heat resistance, and overall better wear characteristics. And a lot of times when people hear that tires are more expensive or see that cost difference, they automatically assume, oh, well, it's just a stickier rubber, when that's not really the case. It's more about how that rubber or that compound responds under things like pressure and different temperatures, and when it's pushed to the absolute limit. Let's take something like the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, for
Yep.
example. Very popular ultra-high performance tire. And this is a tire that uses multiple types of compounds across the entire tread, using a harder compound on the inside for stability and overall longevity, and a softer compound on the outer edges to help with grip in the corners. Something that you're typically not going to see with like a $70 tire. Now, cheaper tires, on the other hand, typically stick to a single compound dedicated to a specific purpose, mostly all-season driving.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on the outside.
And that's the thing. That's, for me, it was more so, both my vehicles are tuned, and there's going to be moments where I want to get the best performance out of him. And, granted, it'd be different if I'm just getting something for a daily drive. Like, I believe on my previous Mercedes, I think I had the run flats, all season run flats. So anytime I had caught a flat, I didn't. It was still drivable to get to where I need to get it changed or whatever the case may be. So and I wasn't really pushing it in the E300s and the C300s that I had a few years ago. But once you get more performance upgrades and you tune them up, and much more horsepower and torque, it becomes beneficial to get the more sportier tires, especially if you plan on pushing the car, more than just the regular commute to work.
But what's going on the inside? High-end tires often feature things like reinforced belts, stiff sidewalls, and something known as an optimized carcass shape, which is a horrible term, and I hate saying that. These are the things that give you that responsive feel when turning or braking, and when you go with a high-end performance-focused tire, that's what you can expect to have. Now, some cheaper tires have this as well, or you will hear that they at least put a focus on these areas, but oftentimes you will find thinner sidewalls that flex under load, a sloppier steering feel, and less of a resistance to sidewall rollover, or even chunking when they get some heat into them. Definitely things you would consider more if you're looking for a performance tire than a daily driving tire, but that's where this is all coming into play really when you're looking at construction and formula, I guess, of a tire. So let's step outside of the performance talk for just a second and talk more about reliability and comfort, because premium tires oftentimes perform better because of all the stuff that we just talked about, but on top of that, their options are usually quieter on the road. The tread patterns that are designed by a lot of the top tier manufacturers are designed using something known as CFD simulation, or computational fluid dynamic simulation.
That's crazy.
Basically a fancy word for a computer program that tests how the tread will work in real life. But on top of that, they do real world testing to see how much road noise they actually produce and how they handle in different weather conditions. Now, these high-end brands put a lot of time and money into testing their tires, and even have massive dedicated testing or proving grounds to do so. We've actually been to the Continental Tire proving grounds in Texas, and it's an absolutely massive area of different
That's
tracks,
actually pretty cool.
skid pads surrounded by an 8.5-mile high-speed ring that they use to test their tires on. Things you can afford to do when you are an absolutely huge name like Continental or Michelin. Now, on the other hand, you have some cheaper tire options that may look super aggressive. They got the wide tread blocks, a flashy tread pattern, but that doesn't always mean better performance. And without the same level of testing, you may get lower performance in things like rain or cold weather, or you might get some more road noise or even some vibration at higher speeds. Premium also.
And that's the thing. That's what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. Like, granted, I forgot what tires I initially had from the dealership. They claimed to be sports performance, but once again, I was doing some pretty good pulls for the longest with no issues. It's just more horsepower and torque, and my car being able to shift so quickly into the higher gears with the tunes and modifications. Like, once I'm at like 130, 140, anything past like 130, I could feel the vibrations. Like, yeah, it's not safe. So I definitely wanted to upgrade that. But yeah, man, you definitely want to invest. I know it's pricey, but those are the part of the car I feel like you don't want to cheap out on too much, considering this is, without the tires, you're pretty much cooked. And if you're at high speeds or bad weather conditions or whatever the case may be, you don't want to be in a situation where you lose control or your tires malfunction or blow up or whatever the case may be, because you kind of cheaped out on them. That's the one part of the vehicle you don't want to cheap out on.
Seasons in general do a better job in extreme weather conditions. It's just how it is. Just like when it comes to racing performance compared to a lot of other cheaper options, their compound, the design, the overall construction has just been optimized for what they are built to do. Things like daily driving and experiencing some not so great weather. And typically with cheaper tires, you will experience things like inconsistent grip in weather conditions, longer braking distances when it's wet, and overall just less confidence when you're driving in that type of weather. Well, let's switch it up a bit here because I feel like we've been talking really high about expensive tires quite a bit. But here's the interesting part about all of this and where the cheaper tires really tend to shine. Not all expensive tires will last longer. And on the contrary, not all cheaper tires wear out fast. It all depends on what the tire has been made to do and, of course, what you're doing with it.
You're driving.
Looking at a high-performance 200 tread-wear tire like the Falken RT660 or the Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2, it will grip like crazy, but you're not getting many miles out of them. Grip equals friction, and friction equals wear. Meanwhile, a budget 400 treadwear all-season tire might last you tens of thousands of miles longer, but of course, you're trading off that overall performance. So with that being said, here's the deal. Cheap tires have their place. Whether you're looking for performance or just everyday reliability, there are some gems out there that come in on a pretty decent budget. Ironmans and Kendas, for instance, make fantastic drift tires. Nexen and Yokohama have some great options for everyday driving that I wouldn't necessarily call cheap, but still fall within that budget-friendly category. Expensive tires are going to give you more tech, overall more performance, whether that's on the track or just highway driving, and the confidence that they are going to do what they say they are going to do. And once again, all depends on how you drive and what you are looking to do with your car. So if you're looking to throw some mods and some new wheels on your daily, you don't need a set of Sport Cup 2s. I'm sorry, you'll be fine with just getting away with a decent set of all seasons. But if you're looking to throw some mods and some new wheels on your daily, no, you don't really need to get a set of Sport Cup 2s. You'll be fine in getting away with a cheap or decent set of all-season tires. But if you're looking at building a weekend warrior to take to the track or have something that you drive on the street but puts down a respectable amount of power that you need to contain, then yeah, absolutely plan to set some more money aside for a really nice set of tires. And if you ever have any questions on what we would recommend for you and your build, feel free to reach out to us at any time.
Hey, this was actually a pretty informative video. And it's funny that I wanted to check this out because I recently just got the tires, so it just made sense. And it kind of reaffirmed me getting the Continentals was a good choice. And once again, testing it out, it just felt smooth. It hooked smooth. I can go high speeds. I'll say this. I'll put this out there. And I have the clip. I don't think I'll probably ever post it, but it was a late night situation. I'm down here in Texas, we have a toll road, but on the toll, it's between the highway. So we have one set of lanes and then we have another set of lanes, and they built a toll road in the middle. So it's just two lanes. And a lot of times, not a lot of people are driving unless in the morning time to get to downtown. It's a quicker way to avoid traffic getting downtown Houston. And we was driving like around 2 in the morning. Me and my date at the time, she's in the cars. So when I say, she's like, rip it, like gun it, I was like, all right, cool. There's nobody on the road, nobody in these two lanes, and I just got the tires. When I say I pushed it, and I pushed it to the fastest I've ever been in that car, and it still could have kept going. And I really wanted to test it, and I planned on doing it anyway, because I know a couple places where I'll test out the car. You know, if I get new tires or a tune, I'll test it out on a straightaway. You know, just because, you know, to see if it's matching the performance. When I say I reached 175 on a straightaway, no vibrations. It didn't feel like I was going 175. It was just smooth as butter, man. And that's when I was like, okay, I felt good, because a couple days prior, me trying to get to those type of speeds, my steering wheel would vibrate, and I would just let off the gas. I'm like, nah, I'd rather not even try to, even push it like that. But now, with the new tires that I got, man, it is just smooth. Being able to reach those speeds, and that's not something that I normally reach, but being able to reach 175 with no issues, no vibration, just smooth smooth ride. I was really happy about my purchase, man. So, hey, comment down below. Let me know some other car related videos you guys want me to check out. I definitely would. I appreciate all the love and support you guys are showing on the channel. And make sure if you are getting you some tires, do your research, get what's best for you and how you drive in your vehicle. Don't try to get things because other people getting them. Get them because you heard good things about them. Do your research and make sure it fits your driving style. Because at the end of the day, these tires are essentially one of the, if not the most important thing on your car. And you want to make sure you get the proper stuff so that way you can move around as safe as possible. I appreciate y'all, man. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.